Hi, my name is Mercy. Welcome back to the channel. So life's little lessons. Here we are. One of the things that I've been obsessed with when I am not watching abusers being brought to justice has been, okay, that's actually quite weird because this is also someone being brought to justice. So anybody who's been following the story of the CEO who got shot in the US, in New York. So he was going for a meeting and with investors, and he got shot right outside the meeting, the hotel where he was going for the meeting, and voila. Yeah, a few days later, the guy was arrested in Pennsylvania, and Luigi, who was arrested in Pennsylvania, was he's now waiting for his court case as at the recording of this video. So here are a few of the things that I found so fascinating about this thing. Let's start with the fact that I have learned way more than I ever wanted to learn about the US healthcare system. Now, I live in Switzerland, and if there's one thing that I do not like about Switzerland, it's actually the health insurance system. So everybody does have health insurance, which is good. The problem is it's mandatory, but it's private. So you have to have it. You can't not have it because by law it's mandatory for you to have it. But then it's private health insurance, which means private companies own the insurance companies. So you have to pay, so they come up with the prices, and these prices don't take anything into consideration. They don't take into consideration your salary. They don't take into the advantage is you have to be covered. So except for the complementary insurance, there is no such thing as pre-existing condition. If you come in and you already have diabetes, they are taking you with your diabetes and all that. Now, of course, you cannot get complementary insurance because then complementary insurance, that's where the insurance companies make money. That's how they claim that's where they make money. But no, they're making money even in the basic insurance. They just don't want to admit that. Anyway, so the way it works is you have the copay, which if you normally when you go to an insurance person, they advise you that the copay that you should take if you're generally healthy should be the highest possible. That way you pay very little in premiums, but if you go to the doctor, then you have to pay to cover until you reach the copay that you're supposed to take. Otherwise, if you are regularly at the doctors, like if you have chronic recurring condition, then you would need, I'll use diabetes again as an example. Diabetes meaning you need to go see the doctor a bit more, then it would make more sense for you to pay higher monthly premiums, and then you don't have to pay as much copay. So you only spend like 300 in copay, and then the rest the insurance comes in and pays for part of it. Now, the advantage with this is the fact that one, everybody has it, so everybody is covered, so everybody can actually see a doctor when they need a doctor. The disadvantage is, and the second advantage is the fact that if you make below a certain amount of money and you've been in Switzerland for more than 2 years, then you have the option of asking for government aid, government subsidy in paying for your health insurance, which of course helps. Now, the disadvantage is the fact that it's private healthcare, and private companies, as much as we don't want to, as much as we find it inhuman, private companies are not there to be nice. They are there to make money. They have investors that they have to please. They are basically there to make money, and that's it. It's what we don't like hearing, but it's the truth. It's what is the reality. Yeah. So we kind of don't like being told this, but it's what companies are there for, right? So they have to make money, which means the insurances are going up. I came in 2003. Okay, I was younger then, and I think until 25 years old, it's cheaper, and then after that, it becomes crazy prices. However, people who came here at the same time and they were above 25, when I've been talking to them, they're like, their insurance has more than doubled. And they haven't changed insurances. They haven't changed the premium. They haven't changed the company. They're still in the same insurance. But it has more than doubled in the last 20 years, which very few of them have their salaries more than doubled. So it starts being a burden at some point. It's just, for me, I feel like it's totally one of those things that needs to be regulated a bit more. Um, so a few suggestions have come up over the years from people that I've talked to and other people who know what they're talking about. And one of them has been, why is there no state health insurance, that option, because when you think about it, if the government is already giving subsidies, and majority of the people that I know, even the ones who are making what we would consider significant, still struggle and they still qualify, because you don't just say that I want it and you get it. It actually has to be calculated, and they still qualify for this government subsidy. So if such a big percentage of your population cannot afford the regular one, then why is it that the government is already paying for something? So they're already paying the subsidies. So why not just make it official and just give people who want the option of the government subsidized, the government health insurance, to get the government health insurance? I'm sure. No, I'm not sure, because I used to think that when I think about something, somebody else probably has a better reason. But I've come to realize that this genius person that I imagine exists does not. Sometimes people are just not wanting things to happen. And it's not because there's a better reason, it's just because they don't want things to happen. Anyway, so so that is one of the reasons that people have said. And then the second, the people who are against that just feel like the government is already too much in our business, and these companies also are needed. I mean, they would shut down, because if everybody has the option of going for a cheaper health insurance, they will all go to the government health insurance. And then these companies, there will be loss of jobs and stuff like that. Why these people cannot be hired in the companies, in the government health insurance one, I don't know. But apparently that's a reason. Okay. So that is the first thing that I learned. So this is just me delving into the Swiss healthcare insurance. So what I learned about the American one, apparently it's even worse than ours. So what I was hearing, and this is me hearing stuff from TikTok, so maybe people are just exaggerating. But then the thing is, on TikTok, it's the people who are having it nice don't go on TikTok to rant. It's the people who are complaining that are going there. So maybe there's a good side. But then from what I was hearing, you can pay these premiums. First of all, many people will stay in a job that they hate just because that job offers them insurance, and they can't get the insurance if they are not at that job. I don't know how that works, but anyway, somehow that's the reason. And the other thing that quite a lot of them were complaining about was the fact that you can pay these premiums for a very long time, and then when it's time to be refunded, the company they just refuse. Now that is not an issue I've ever had. Maybe I've just never had the diseases that the insurance companies didn't worry about. I mean, with the complementary insurance, yes, there have been issues like, you ask for this to be refunded and they're like, no, we're not covering that. Have it covered by your regular insurance. But my regular insurance, I've never had. They might bother you with asking the doctor for 2 or 3 extra things, or insist that, your GP has to prescribe this before you can go to this other doctor and stuff like that, which I found ridiculous. Like, for example, when I wanted to get a therapist, then I'm being told my GP has to check if I need a therapist. And I was like, question is, the GP, what does he know? I mean, his job is to know whether I'm physically healthy, but he can't specialize in everything. My GP is awesome, but he's not a specialist in everything. So how does he know anyway? So I went, he prescribed, and I was like, okay, fine, this is a waste of my 5 minutes, a waste of his 5 minutes, and then the insurance company has to pay for that visit too. But anyway, so turns out in the American healthcare insurance companies have so much power that they actually can refuse and tell the doctors, no, you can't do this surgery and you have to do this and you have to do this instead. And that can be really annoying. So when this guy shot the CEO, people were, well, so there were people who were happy about it, and then there were people who were not happy about it, and then, well, then there were people like me who were confused. And the first, the first day, so the first day when the shooting happened, and so it was being shown, and there was this masked man, and everybody was like, you know what, we hope this man never gets caught. We hope that, this, because this guy, he's horrible. He's the head of such a horrible place, and they denied my insurance, they denied this, and they denied this, and they denied this, and there are all these testimonials coming out. And of course, then there were the other people who were like, oh, can you imagine? The presentation still went on without him. So never worry about your job, because when you die, 5 minutes later, you will be replaced and stuff like that. Well, I mean, logically, if you're the only one who can do your job and you can never be replaced, then you should consider if you're actually doing your job right. Because, I mean, succession plan is important. I mean, even if he wasn't shot, he could have been hit by the bus. The fact that they had plan B does not mean that you should not ace your plan A because you're worried about you being replaced. So that's, yeah, I think I've already done a video about this. I'm not sure I'm going to go into that rant again, but do your job to the best of your ability, not because you think that you're the only one who can do it and should never be replaced, but come on, realistically. Anyway, so there was, of course, that WhatsApp group of people who just think that because they just want to complain. Okay, then few days later, this guy gets arrested. And now this is where it starts getting interesting. Not because I'm a conspiracy theorist, because I am becoming one, but because, okay, first, apparently he went somewhere and removed his mask because he was wearing a surgical mask, right? Removed his mask, started hitting on a lady. So somebody got so one of the CCTVs got a look at his face, and when they saw the look, and then they had a look at his face, then he was able. Then now they could show advertise with the look on his face. My question is, he doesn't have a cousin who doesn't like. I mean, I can understand his immediate family not saying, yeah, we know him, but he doesn't even have like a distant cousin who can't stand him. I mean, I'm imagining, like, if there was something like that and there's a $50,000 reward. There are some people who I would struggle with not reporting them, But anyway, nobody reported him until he went to a McDonald's in Pennsylvania, and somebody there saw him. Then the waitress, the service person, Nancy Parker, I don't know what she does there, but anyway, Nancy Parker called, what's the name again? We called the 911, and then the police came and picked him. Somehow this happened in 2024, and there are no videos of the police coming into that McDonald's, the police taking him. The only videos start way after he had been arrested. So I'm like, really? In 2024, nobody had their phone out the minute they saw a policeman? Like, nowadays, somebody pours coffee, and before that coffee has finished being poured, there are like 3 phones that are already recording it. There was nobody. Like, this Nancy is the only one who saw this guy and saw the resemblance. Nobody else was like, let me be TikTok famous and just put it and just start. I don't know. I'm not convinced about that part. Anyway, so it turns out this woman is not even going to get the reward because she called 911 instead of calling the FBI, and apparently the instructions for the $50,000 was if you call the FBI and not 911, the police. Anyway, so This guy gets arrested, and now the public is hating on this woman for snitching, because they're like, yeah, but I mean, the corporations are against us, the government is against us, and you're here snitching on one of us. What's wrong with you? I mean, we are in this together. And yeah, so that's pretty much where we are right now. People are hating this poor woman, who I do not think exists, because there seems like every single Facebook page, and she posted it on Facebook. That's how people knew it was her, because she posted on Facebook and said that she is the one who snitched. But it just looked like a fake page, because there were no pictures. Well, I mean, not everybody put pictures on Facebook, but still, if it's somebody who's that vain that they call the police on somebody and then go on Facebook to put it, they would probably be somebody like me who wastes so much time on social media, right? It's not somebody who is an occasional social media user. It is probably somebody who loves social media, because that's the only thing that's the only reason I can think for somebody to go to social media to seek validation by saying that they are the snitch. How that was a good idea in their head at the time, still don't get it. But well, that's where we are. So this is where we are as at today when I'm recording this video, and I'm hoping that things start evolving. However, my life's little lesson here is, can we be serious? Healthcare is something that I think everybody is entitled to, and different countries handle it differently. So as I just spent a big chunk of the beginning of the part explaining how Switzerland handles it, I know quite a lot of European countries have the nationalized healthcare. I know, like the UK, for example, they have NHS, which some people love, some people hate, some people love to hate. And every one of those has their hiccups. Kenya has I don't even know. With Kenya it's complicated. I can finish recording this video and then the name has already changed anyway. But there was a good one for quite a while. And now I'm hoping that these are just hiccups, but they're in the process of changing it. And the other one, as much as it had its bumps, it was good for people who used it. It actually was fit for purpose. And this is what many people just want. People just want that if something is wrong with them, they're able to get the treatment that they want and the treatment that they need at that time. However, private companies, as much as it pains me to say this, and I'm saying this as somebody who works for a non-profit, but private companies, their job and their mandate, and I know it makes sense for us to hate these CEOs and to think that they're just these horrible people, but these people have to report to boards of governors, and they have to report to shareholders, and the shareholders are not going to ask how many lives did you save. The shareholders are going to ask, how much did you make? And that is one of the things that we have to actually just accept, that capitalism has its downside, where it's about money. It's not always about the right thing, and that's where, like, the is it moral or is it legal part comes in. But sometimes it's not about doing the right thing, it's about getting the money. And they can justify it by saying, listen, by us getting the money, we are able to do other things. Because when you look at it, quite a lot of these private companies also do have like a charity side of it, where they channel some of their profits. Not enough, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But they also have that side of them, that for them, they say, okay, fine, we have a service that people need, and we have to sell it, and we are selling it at the price that we have to sell it. Now, whether this service means somebody else must die and that somebody else, but this is just so those things that every single day these executives and the heads of these companies have to deal with, and they have to think about that. However, I've never understood why healthcare is in that group. I've just never understood it. I've never understood the concept of a private hospital. Have a private wing in a general hospital, fine, so that those people who feel like I don't feel like sharing a room and stuff like that can have it. But the idea that the best doctors are for the rich people and I don't know. For me, it's just never sat well with me because I've just always felt like there are two things that I feel we should really not mess with, and that's education and health. Because I feel like those are the two equalizers. Everybody dies eventually, everybody gets sick at some point. And education, with the right education, most people can actually change their circumstances. So I've always felt like these are the two things that we really shouldn't you having money shouldn't be the standard for it. But I think it's just one of those things that, well, that's where we are and that's how the world is at the moment. And unless you're planning to change something, we just have to deal with it at that time. So, the moral of the story, we are not going to go out there and shoot CEOs. That's just rude. However, I hope that this was a wake up call, not just for CEOs to go online and remove their change their status on LinkedIn and remove the names of the companies where they work and their so that people don't know that they are with healthcare companies. And I think even with big pharma at some point people are removing their names. But I hope this was a wake up call that sometimes the things that we do, the jobs we do, it can actually make people hate you so much that they don't even mourn your death when you're gone. It's just one of those things. All right, so that is way longer than it was supposed to be. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope to see you on the next video. Yeah.